Hi, Calista. How you doing? Thank you for submitting your work. Let's go ahead and take a look, shall we? All right. So now the first thing I'm noticing is that your text in some of your compositions is right up to that margin, to the composition margin here, right there, that picture plane, right at the edge there. And that's not comfortable at all. It's really not. And basically what I'm seeing here is your understanding of the grid, I think is developing, but not quite there yet. Oh, by the way, don't forget, this is 15 inches high by 20 inches wide, 5 by 5 squares with 1 inch gutter between. So you definitely want to do that. If you jump over to the course announcement, specifically welcome to week 3, there's a bunch of stuff in here. You got to look at this whole study, this whole announcement. There's 6 videos in here and many resources. To a very high degree, I think that there's more information here than actually in the course lecture. So you want to get yourself really wrapped around this announcement and everything, all the resources therein. I can guarantee you'll come out of this with a much better understanding of grid and hierarchy. But I want to draw your attention all the way to the bottom right here, how to set up the file for assignment 3. And that's going to show you how to set up that 15 by 20 file with 5 by 5 interior composition separated by a 1-inch vertical and horizontal gutter. Okay, so we got to get that done, set up correctly. Excuse me. All right, let's go ahead and take a look now. As I said, all of your compositions, you have your type of residing right up there to the edge of the actual page, and that's not a good thing. So let me show you something, what we want to do. So basically what you want to do is you have your 5 by 5 square, and you want to set up an interior margin. This is an interior margin. You can make it as big or small as you want, but I would recommend at least a 1/2 inch, okay, in a 5-inch square, because what you want is a little padding out here. You would use that, and then you would set your grid lines inside that margin, okay? That would ensure this padded area around here just to make it much more comfortable. As we can see, this has margins set up. These are more seem to be like about a 1/4 inch, but nonetheless, the text is not residing up right on the page edge as yours is. This is what it looks like. Now in InDesign, you can set this up. And let me show you how to do this in InDesign. Here's a 5 by 5 with my interior margin in InDesign. If you just go up to Layout in InDesign and say Create Guides, right here you can say Fit Guides to Margins. Okay, I'm going to cancel that. And what that's going to do is that's going to set your guides to your interior margin as opposed to the page, so that the interior squares of the grid will be equal. Okay, now in Illustrator, you might have to do this manually, but remember the idea is to set an interior margin and then to grid that from there and not the page edge. Okay, first composition asks for no contrast in size or weight, but it does ask for hierarchy to be based on grouping. Right now, you've only got one group here, so there is no hierarchy based on grouping. I would also recommend if you have something that has 2 lines, you want to have a little bit of space here, which is going to have to probably recommend decreasing the size of your type. Add a space between 64 GTO and the rest of these descriptions. Okay, and that's going to create your contrast on grouping. But one of these has to be set off from the other. That's grouping, and I think that the name of the car makes perfect sense in doing that. Okay, don't try, if in this configuration here, you don't want to drop text to the next line, because that looks like a description on its own. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you're going to drop text to the next line, you want to make sure there's ample space in between those, so that doesn't look like it's another feature of the car, just carburetor. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, now in your second composition, it's asking for 1 new size and 1 new weight. Here's your new size, here's your new weight. That's great. The problem I'm having here, and the reason I'm saying that it seems like your understanding of grid is emerging, is because you've got a lot of center alignment here. This is all center aligned, this is all center aligned. You don't want to do that. You don't need a grid if you're going to center align, right? Center align is just putting things in the center. So we want to grid, we want to use left alignment or right alignment, but we don't want to center align the text. Okay, and remember, you can group here too, and keep alignment in mind. Okay, I'm going to give you some examples in a second. Okay, third composition is asking for multiple weights and weight, multiple contrast in weight and scale. And I'm not seeing that here. I'm seeing you've got 1, 2, these are the same. This and this are the same. Okay, so you've got your standard text, then you've got the same, and the same. So we don't have multiple contrasts in weight and scale. You want to definitely, and then you also want multiple weights in scale and weight, multiple contrasts in scale. You also want multiple contrasts in scale and weight in the fourth composition. Now in the fourth composition, we have a little bit of a problem. The car's in color and it doesn't bleed. Don't forget, in the assignment specifications, in design 4, your car must be cropped, and it also must bleed in 2 areas, okay? And also, if you come up here, you can see the car, everything needs to be black and white, okay? So we're going to have to make some adjustments here. Now, what I would like to do to really get you a little much more appreciation and understanding of creating hierarchy based on emphasis, and that emphasis based on changes in scale and weight. Take a look at page 101 in the textbook, right? It's our textbook. Page 101 shows some fantastic examples, really shows you blow by blow how to set this up. So you definitely want to take a look at that. Matter of fact, review that, really study that before you submit your final submission for Sunday. Okay, now those are my recommendations moving into your final submission. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm so sorry, excuse me. If you have any questions, please let me know, but you definitely want to follow those, and looking forward to seeing your submission for Sunday. All right, fantastic. Thanks, Calista.